Good afternoon po, Sir Wilson.
Hi, good afternoon.
Hi, good afternoon po, sir. Welcome po sa Laguna State Polytechnic University, College of Teacher Education. And together with me po are my third year education students, and they are all major in English. And our subject for today po is all about speech and theater arts. And one of our lessons is to have a session with allow me to say this, sir, with well-known theater artist. And we're very lucky, sir, that you were able to say yes to my invitation. Apparently I'm still sir, starstruck even if I've met you during the Rock of Ages and Kinky Boots, sir. That was really a fantastic stage play. That's why
Thank you.
my students are all excited to know more about you, sir. Okay? Your journey in becoming a theater actor, and then perhaps you could give them some of your best practices po, sir. Okay?
Okay,
Because
sure.
I wasn't able to I'm not hindi ko naman maipakita po sa kanila yung mga plays natin because it was a private and then it was done a few years back, okay?
Yeah.
That's why I just tried my best, and I'm again, sir, I'm very lucky to have you here. So, third year, once again, I would like to introduce to you to one of the well-renowned theater actors here in the Philippines, okay? He's part of lots of stage play, and two of them I've watched it. Okay, Rock of Ages and then Kinky Boots. Kinky Boots was the best actually. I really love the performance of Sir Jamie there together with the main cast, okay, which is Sir Noy Bolante. So, ladies and gentlemen, once again, let's all welcome Mr. Jamie Wilson. Sir, the floor is yours po.
Hi guys. I'm Jamie Wilson. Thank you for having me. I hope you guys are staying safe during the lockdown. I know it's difficult, especially for schools and for theater and for live performances. We don't have any shows going on. Although last December, there were a few shows that went on um, when we were at alert level 2. And then, of course, bumalik na naman yung COVID, yung numbers tumaas. So, nag-alert level 3 tayo at hindi na tayo pwede mag-shows. So, as he was saying, I'm a theater actor. I primarily am an actor for the stage. I also direct. I also produce. I also assistant direct. I also technical direct for theater. Basically, my whole life has been in theater. If I'm going to take you through my entire career, we might run out. I don't know how much time you guys have, but I started out with my first professional show at 7 years old. I am 49, so basically I've been in theater for 42 years, um, 43 years this year. Um, and I did my first role. My first role was as Theo in Pippin. That's for Repertory Philippines. And ever since then, I've pretty much been in the world of theater and branching out to other things. Now, since you guys are primarily interested in my theater work, I have done more than 100 shows. I would assume. I grew up in the same generation as Lea Salonga. She's like my ate. And my sister Monique Wilson was her alternate as Kim in Miss Saigon. Basically, my whole family has been in theater. My father's an actor also, primarily in films. So it basically runs in the family. I've worked with several theater companies here in Manila, some international productions as well. And basically, my life has been dedicated to the theater. I find it amazing. I find it magical. I think that's the key word if you are going to go into the performance arts. It's magic. It's a lot of fun. It's a lot of hard work, but it's very, very rewarding. If you are interested in going to the performing arts, especially theater, let me tell you, you're not going to get rich in money, but you will be rich in experience. You'll be rich in friendship. You'll be rich in love. Um, that's that's the wonderful part about theater. Um, I have worked on stage and off stage. Being an actor is extremely difficult, but also extremely fun. I think if you're going to go into acting, I think the best thing to do is to know yourself, because it's hard to become somebody else if you don't know who you are. So it's very important that you know who you are. And I'm talking about not just your name, not just your favorite color, but basically what makes you angry, what makes you happy, what makes you fall in love, what makes you angry, what makes you um, question things, what your moral compass is, what your values are. So it's very important that you know yourself, and then you can become somebody else. Um, I have worked with several amazing directors. Also, I have taken years and years and years of workshops. I just finished another workshop just recently during the lockdown, because you never stop learning. And syempre natatakot din ako kung biglang may show na dumating, baka nakalimutan ko na paano gawin. Kasi 2 years na akong hindi umaarte in theater, no? But theater is very fulfilling. There are basically two kinds of theater that I've done. That's musicals and straight plays. Yung straight play naman, hindi kayo kumakanta at madalas hindi kayo sumasayaw. So musicals, we sing and we dance and we act and we speak. And each one has its own difficulties. Straight plays, for in my opinion, are harder because if you're doing a musical, for example, it's easier because the songs themselves give you the emotional journey. You can tell what kind of emotion you're going to have when you're singing a song. Case in point, when you sing I Dreamed a Dream, or if you sing like a song from Les Miserables, like for example, Stars from Javert, you know that he's in conflict. So the songs give you an emotional cue. In a straight place, when there are no songs, the emotion has to come directly from you and from the story. So it's quite interesting when you participate or you're involved in many different shows. In the recent years, I've been cast as a contrabida because look at me, hindi mo na ako mukhang bida. My most recent productions would be, if you're familiar with Matilda, the musical. Are you guys familiar with Matilda? You can just shake your heads, yes, or give me a thumbs up. Yeah. Okay, so I played Miss Trunchbull, the principal, the woman principal. And when my director approached me, he wanted me to audition. Jamie, I think you'd be good for Miss Trunchbull in Matilda. And I'm like, I don't like working with kids. I hate kids. I don't like kids. They're smelly, they're noisy, they're makulit, they're annoying. And my director just looked at me like, mm-hmm. And then I realized, oh nga, no, baka nga bagay ako sa role. Kasi I don't like kids. And apparently on Broadway and in all the other live productions, Miss Trunchbull is always played by a man, because of the strength requirements. She's supposed to be an ex-Olympian hammer thrower, and she throws children around. So traditionally, it's always played by a man. So that was a very, very interesting journey for me to take because one, I had to be a woman who had to be manly. So parang dalawang ikot ako. 'Di ba? Una, I had to be a woman, and then I had to be a macho woman pa. So parang, ha? Dalawang ikot yun eh. Instead of just being a woman, or I can't just be a man, di ba? I had to combine both. And then, of course, you have a British accent, you had singing, you had dancing. I had to wear a fat suit, I had big boobs, I had a bun in my hair. It was quite interesting because it took me like about 15 minutes to get into my costume. And, but what was amazing about it is, when you're playing a contrabida, which is, I love playing contrabidas because you get to do the things that you can't do in real life. Like, can you imagine me as Jamie throwing a child around? I'll get arrested, right? Or when I played Arturo Banlao in the Ang Huling El Bimbo, the musical, which is the musical created with music from the Eraserheads. I played also the contrabida. If I did that in real life, I would get arrested. So it's so fun playing a contrabida because you get to do things on stage that you can't do in real life. And if you are very effective, people will hate you, but people will also want to see you. We love watching people do bad things because we by ourselves we realize that we can't do that in real life. So it's so nice to see somebody being able to do that in real in on stage or even in film. So yeah, those are my two contrabida aspects. I also played. Are you guys familiar with Adam's Family? The Adams Family? Yes. Okay, so I played Uncle Fester for the musical, and Uncle Fester was the uh, the narrator of the musical. And it was quite interesting because when my director was telling me, "Oh, Jamie, we're gonna give you a wig that's kalbo." I've never liked, if you've watched any movie or any play, I've never liked how kalbo wigs look. So I said, "No, direct, I'll just shave my head." Like, what? No, sayang your hair. You don't have to shave your head. And I said, "No, I don't mind. My hair naman grows fast, so I'll shave my head." So I had to go about maybe 2 months of rehearsal, 1 month of a show, being completely shaven. And it was such a fun role. Okay, Uncle Fester is so much fun to play because he's your crazy uncle. Diba? He's your crazy uncle. He's a nice guy, but he plays with knives and explosives. So it was quite interesting to play that character. And I realized that although I was having so much fun playing Uncle Fester, it was very, very difficult for me to go around because naturally nangan I already look nakakatakot. Eh, kalbo mo pa ako. So, mas nakakatakot. So, ang hirap-hirap mag-commute. May mga may mga gabi na taxis would not want to stop for me. Kahit napagod na ako, kailangan ko maglakad pa uwi kasi hindi ako makakuha ng taxi. Kasi mukha akong goon, mukha akong killer siguro. So, there are, um, things that, are pros and cons also. So I played just, those are just a few of my roles. I played a lot of roles, small ones, big ones. The one thing that I've always remembered from my very first theater teacher, which is Zenaida Amador, who was the founder of Repertory Philippines, she always tells me that there are no small roles, only small actors. And I didn't really understand what that meant until I realized that there are some times where you're cast in a lead role, sometimes you're in a support role, sometimes you're in the chorus. And it takes as much effort and as much energy and as much concentration to play a lead just as it does to play a chorus role. So every role in every play is very, very important. So you have to play your chorus role as if you're playing the lead kasi ikaw yung lead ng buhay mo eh. Ikaw yung hindi ka lead sa play, pero lead ka sa buhay ng character na pinoportray mo sa stage. So I realized that it's a lot of fun and a lot of work to play any role in a stage play, whether you're the lead or whether you're a support. And it takes just as much energy and hard work to do either roles. All right. Some people like being cast as the lead. I personally don't like being cast as the lead. I find it more fun to be in supporting roles because hindi the story is not on your shoulders. You're a part of the story. You have a function in the story, but it's not on your shoulders. Like when Sir Brian sent me about we're going to be talking about Shakespeare in Love, right? I honestly prefer the supporting roles rather than William Shakespeare and Viola. They're okay lang, basic lang yun eh, love story lang yan. But the supporting roles are really, really meaty. Um, we'll go more into that later. No, so now if you want to go into stage arts or theater or performing arts, I've got to tell you, it's very, very difficult. I'm not trying to discourage you. I'm just trying to prepare you. It's very difficult. But, but the experience you get and the fun you're going to have is going to be worth it. It's a lot of hard work. I mean, when I started doing theater when I was 7 years old, imagine I had to juggle theater in school. So the conditions of my parents were you get good grades, you can do a play. Eh gusto ko mag-play. Eh minsan hanggang alas 3 ng umaga yung mga rehearsals namin. Tapos 7 a.m. I have to go to school. So I had to manage my time na pag wala akong ginagawa, ginagawa ko homework ko. And then I would go to my rehearsals. And syempre, I have to also study for my rehearsals. So it was a lot of preparation. But if you do what you have to do, then you can do what you want to do. And that's both in life and also in theater. So never stop learning. Take workshops. If you want to sing, sing every day. Get a good voice teacher if you want. Practice your technique. And more importantly, try to understand what you're singing. Very important. I know quite a lot of I've given workshops before, and I know quite a lot of students who have amazing voices, pero wala silang laman emotionally kasi hindi nila naiintindihan anong kinakanta nila. You have to understand what you're singing. You have to give the emotion of the song, because what's important is how not only how you feel when you're singing it, but what do you want the people who are listening to feel? What is that function of the song inside the musical? In terms of being in the theater world, off stage, um, as an actor in rehearsals or as an actor in belonging to a company, what's really nice is that you are. It's one of the rare experiences that you're going to have, belonging to a group of people who are all working for the same goal, who are all working towards the same result. Lahat kami, whether it be the crew, the stage management, the lighting designer, the actors, the lead actors, the chorus, the director, the producers, lahat kami, isa lang yung goal namin na dapat maganda yung show natin. And all the efforts from everybody down the line, top to bottom, left to right, all the efforts go towards that. Kaya madalas you're talking to, you're going to be working with very emotional people. You're actors. We have all the emotions in the world, di ba? You're talking to creative people. Inevitably, mag-aaway-away yan because everybody is trying to do their best. And once you realize that we're all working naman towards the best show that we can do, it's beautiful when you see everything come together. It's beautiful when you see people from different walks of life working together towards the same goal. Everybody is helping each other. The key words here are generosity. You have to be very generous, whether you're the lead or the chorus or the support or the director or the crew. We're very generous. And what do I mean by generosity? I'm not talking about money, okay? Because there's no money anyway. But I'm talking about being generous with your time, with your energy, with your effort, with your emotions, with yourself. You have to be generous in terms of giving of yourself, not just 100%, 1000%. The demands are going to be so much that they're going to be asking you, okay, so I have to, like, for example, have you guys heard of did you guys get to watch online the release of the Ang Huling El Bimbo, the musical? Has anybody seen that? No? Well, it was released during the pandemic. Yes, I see Nicole. Yeah, very good. Okay. We released it a couple of times. And this one was an original work written by Ding Dong Novinario and directed by Dexter Santos using the music of the Eraserheads. Now, in the initial reading, after I passed the auditions, kasi ako, I've been in theater for 42 years, but I still audition. Hindi ako binibigyan ng mga role. I insist on auditioning because you never know, somebody else might be better for the role. I always tell my directors this. I will audition. Don't give me the role. Don't give me the job because you might find somebody who's better for the role. And that's more important. Although I know I have to work, but what's more important is that you find the perfect person to play that role. So in my role as Arturo Bonlao in Ang Huling El Bimbo the musical, it was written that I was just the ROTC commandant, and that's it. I had no other role. And then after our first reading, so that's just I was in two scenes in Act One. And our director, Dexter Santos, was saying, well, since we have Jamie, why don't we just make him the bad guy of the whole show? So he approached me and he said, Jamie, I'm going to make you my contrabida for the show, for the whole show, not just for those two scenes. Okay? Because the story is about three boys going from college and then growing up. So he wanted me to be the bad guy for the entire show. Sabi ko, Sir Dex, what do you mean? Sabi niya, ay, kayong gagawin kong parang social relevance ko. You will be my social, kasi mahilig yung mga taga-UP, may mga social angles yan eh. May social relevance, may social connection. It has to mirror society. So he said, I'm going to make you my mirror of society as a contribida, as a corrupt politician. Because that time we were creating it, napaka popular, or not really popular, but labas na labas yung mga EJKs, yung extrajudicial killings. So he wanted to put that into the show. And I said, but Sir Dex, hindi naman nakasulat yun eh. Yung role ko, dalawa eksena lang. Sabi niya, sayang ka, Jamie. Di isulat na natin. So can you imagine, for a big show at Resorts World, for a big premiere, and the pressure in rehearsing for 2 months before we opened, every day we would come in and we would create the character that I was playing beyond what was originally written. So we would workshop, we would do improvisation. I would tell him, Sir Dex, I don't think my character would do that. I think he would do this. And then we would write out the scenes that were not written. And that is above and beyond what an actor's job is, because that's the writer's job to write it, right? But since it's an original work and you're on board and it's for the betterment of the show, syempre ako, game, tara, let's create a character. So I can say that the final character of Arturo Banlao in the Ang Huling El Bimbo the musical, the final product when we opened was not only written by Ding Dong Novinario and Dexter Santos, but also by me. So it's very rare you get an opportunity as an actor to write your character. All your responsibility is to create a character. Is to create a character physically from the written page, from the script. And depending on the director's vision, that's your job as an actor. But since this opportunity came up, I said, yeah, game. Tara, let's write a character. And it was fantastic because you know what? We had I think, more than 80,000 people saw us. We ran for 2 years, um, and it was critically acclaimed. It was very popular. The show was very popular. Every single show, after the show, pag nakabihis ka na, pauwi ka na, I knew I had done a good job because people were making me mura. Because that's how much they hated me. Paglabas ko ng backstage, syempre may mga taong humihingi ng autographs sa mga leads and all that. Minumura ako. Kasi sabi na, puta ka naman, Banlaw, kasalanan mo lahat. Sabi ko, yeah, thank you. And that's how you know you did a good job. Because people still hated you afterwards. And, I found it in the beginning, parang bakit mo ako minumura? Hindi ako yung minumura mo, si Banlaw. So I knew that they were making mura the character, not me. That means I did a good job. And that's one thing that is very gratifying when you can hold the mirror up to society and reflect the character that we know, we read in the news about, that we know about. Of course, we all know about Trapa politicians, right? But to actually play and bring to life a Trapo politician that people hated so much on stage, it's very gratifying because basically, it's reminding them, oh, kung hate na hate nyo yung mga Trapo politicians, di huwag nyo iboto. Kasi kasalanan natin yan eh. Binoboto natin yung mga Trapo eh. So I became a representative of that. So my job as an actor went beyond the stage and became a sort of advocacy. So I could tell the people who were watching me, stop voting for characters like me. And that's when you see perhaps a change can be made in society. That's the most important function of theater. You can change society. Theater is not just entertainment. Theater can actually provoke and and function as social change. And if you have one person that you can change the life of for whatever reason in the audience watching you, baka depressed siya nung bumili siya ng ticket at nanood siya. Kailangan niya ng katuwaan, or he might need to rethink where he's going in his life. And he comes to watch your play, and he loves the way you portrayed your role, and he loves the story, and he loves the show. If you can reach one person in any audience, then that's a job well done. That that's what makes it worth it. All the sleepless nights, all the long hours of hard work, that's what makes it worth it. If you can reach and change the life of just one person, that would be fantastic. Now, I think in theater, individually, we have a lot, as an actor, you have a lot of responsibilities. It's your responsibility to, well, memorize your lines, know your blocking, know your songs, learn your songs, uh, create a character. I think the biggest responsibility you have, though, when you are in a company, when you're in a theater company or you're in a theater production, is that you have to be easy to work with. And I am one of those people who learned that the hard way. Growing up in theater, eventually there came a time, I think this was in my early 20s, I think early 20s to mid 20s, I started taking it for granted. Kasi binibigay na ako ng role eh. Binibigay na ako ng mga lead role. So, syempre, since parang I felt like I didn't have to work for this, then I didn't take it seriously. So, I would show up for rehearsals late. I would show up unprepared. My mind would be on other things. Parang, oh, saan yung inuman natin pagkatapos ng rehearsal? Mas importante pa yon kaysa sa rehearsal. Okay? And eventually, I became such a headache to work with that nobody would work with me. And that's all the theater companies in Manila. Even if I had a name, even if in their opinion I was very talented, but I was a headache to work with. So there came a time where nobody would hire me. Not even my sister who owned a theater company. She would not hire me because sakit daw na ulo eh. I was difficult and I wasn't taking it seriously. And when that happened, I had to get a corporate job. I went into the BPO industry. I had to make ends meet, so I had to work. And I realized then that if I wanted to work and go back into theater, which was my love, I had to. I realized I can't live without theater. I can't live without performing. It's in my blood, it's my life. Now, if I want to go back into that, I have to change myself. And since I lost everything, and nobody would work with me, in my going back into the theater world, I had to prove myself again. So, from being given lead roles in shows, I had to work my way back. Nag-umpisa ako sa crew. Balik ako sa crew. Imagine crew, taga-buhat ng mga set pieces, tagalinis ng backstage. Nag-umpisa ulit ako doon. And eventually, I had to work my way up from crew back to lights to technicals, etc., etc. Until one opportunity came na may isang show. This was Jekyll and Hyde for Repertory Philippines, and they said, okay, we need guys because all the guys I think that they casted had left or something, but parang kulang sila ng lalaki. Eh narinig ko, kasi crew ako, narinig ko. Sabi ko, pwede ba ako mag-audition? Tumingin sa akin yung director. This was Menchu Lauchenko Yulo and Jaime Del Mundo. Two amazing directors who I grew up with in Repertory Philippines. They looked at me because they know my reputation. But since I've been doing well as crew again, di ba? I mean, nakita nila nagwawalis ako ng stage. Di ba? The old Jamie would never have done that. The new Jamie was trying to work my way back. And they said, okay, Jamie, you audition. And from that show from Jekyll and Hyde, this was in 2005. So can you imagine how many years I didn't work in theater, or very, very few shows. No, from Jekyll and Hyde, that was I think 2006. Dire-diretso na ako. And I'm telling you, it was amazing because now I really appreciated everything that I was doing. I wasn't taking it for granted. I wasn't I was always, when I would show up, I'm always early, I'm always prepared, I'm always ready. And then eventually that led to me becoming an assistant director and eventually a director. Because when you're ready for the responsibility, then it happens to you. And don't wait for that to happen. If you are entering this field, don't wait for that to happen to you. Okay? It is such a privilege and it's such an honor to be able to step up on that stage and perform. Like sabi nga ni Spider-Man, di ba? Well, actually, si Aunt May or si Uncle Ben, with great power comes great responsibility. And performing in front of, whether it be two people or 2,000 people, performing is a great power because you have the power to change someone. You have the power to influence someone. You have the power to tell them a story that might make them rethink what they think they know. And therefore, it comes with a great responsibility. And your responsibility is to do it as best as you can, to be as truthful as you can, and to be easy to work with. Because believe me, when people are going to be working with you, right, or they're casting or they're recruiting anybody, this also goes with other jobs, okay, not just in theater. There will always be somebody out there better than you are. There will always be somebody who is either more talented, more experienced, who has better credentials, who has a PhD, all that, who's prettier or more guapo. But if you're easy to work with, 9 out of 10 times, they will get you. Kasi masarap kang kasama. So do the work. Do the work. Be prepared, but be easy to get along with. And that's what builds a company of players. I can say that everybody I've ever performed with, everybody that I've ever shared the stage with and the backstage with, because it's not just the cast members that are your family. Okay? It's the crew, the stage managers, the lighting people, the sound people, the technical people. I have actually done every single job that is related to theater work. I have done costumes, I've done lights, I've done sounds, I've done crew, I've done stage management, I've done, yung pinaka-hate ko yung costumes kasi hirap na hirap ako magtahi ng costumes. Yung pinaka-hate ko din is producing, yung production manager kasi naghahawak ka ng pera. Sakit na ng ulo yun. But I've done all the jobs from front of house, selling tickets, selling programs, to ushering, to being a lead on stage. And everybody's there because they want their show to be really good. So walang hierarchy lang. In theater, there's only one hierarchy. It's the director. And your director is God. Yun lang. Everybody else is under the director and everybody else is going to make the director happy and everybody else is working towards a really good show. And that's what you have to do every single show you do. And that's not just, you know, going from one show to another. Minsan, tumatakbo yung mga shows namin. I did children's theater for Repertory Philippines and we would run for 6 months. 6 months. Sometimes 3 or 4 shows a day. Minsan, since we're human, naiisip mo na, wow, pagod ako, pang-apat ko na show today. 'Di ba? O baka mag-autopilot ako. Never go on autopilot. Because you are one, it would, like I was saying, it's such a privilege to be able to do this. Now, if you are able to do 4 shows a day, then you should appreciate that. You should not take that for granted, and you should give each show 100 or even 1,000%. Why? You may be doing 4 shows a day, but the audience that comes to watch you is only seeing one of those shows. So you have to be at your best. every show because an audience member had to save up his allowance or her allowance. She had to get another job, in order to save money to buy a ticket to watch you. So you better give 1,000%. Theater is not just, oh, never mind the rich people. I can come, I can afford another ticket. I'll watch next week. Maybe he'll be better. Baka may mga ganun. Pero mas madalas, somebody had to work really hard to be able to buy a ticket to watch you. So you better be worth it. You better give your all because they can spend their money and they can spend their time doing something else, but they didn't. They came to watch you. So never take it for granted. I'm very, very fortunate that the theater community allowed me to come back. And kaya napipikon ako sa COVID kasi one of my dreams was supposed to come true in 2020. I was supposed to direct for the CCP. Um, and that for me is like shit. That's the CCP, pare. That's the cultural center of the Philippines. That's the main stage. That's the main theater. I was supposed to direct the show, and then COVID happened. So I'm like, okay, masakit, but maybe that dream is not yet. Baka sinasabi ni God, wag muna, pag naka-recover na lahat, baka hindi ka pa ready, di ba? That's how I chose to think about it. But really, your dreams, if you are going to pursue this, then by all means do. There are a lot of opportunities. And I'm telling you, not a lot of people get rich doing this. If you want to get rich, join showbiz. I mean, I hate to put it that way. Join showbiz. And you will have popularity and money if you make it. If you make it. Popularity and influence. But I have to tell you, it's not as fulfilling as doing theater. And there is a possibility you can do both. A lot of theater people are in television and they're doing movies. In fact, one of my kumares in theater, Sheila Francisco, did a small movie, an independent movie that just won the Sundance Award. Sundance is a very popular movie film a film festival in the United States, and she's primarily a theater actress. And her film just won an award. Theater will teach you the fundamentals. Theater will teach you the real skills. What you see in film is a very different animal, but a foundation in theater and the skills that you're going to learn in theater will prepare you, believe me, for anything. Even when I went into the corporate world and I've had to take on a lot of jobs because theater is not enough to pay my bills, no? So I do a lot of different work outside of theater. And 9 out of 10 times, I will beat out even Ateneo graduates, UP graduates, people who have degrees because of my theater training, because I know how to talk to people. I know how to understand problems, so I know how to fix the problem. In theater, you encounter 10 million problems every day and you have to fix them or else wala kayong show. So your training in theater will build a foundation for you that will prepare you for anything that you might encounter. And I cannot stress that enough. Theater has saved my life, and theater has given me opportunities that I normally would never have had. And considering that I never graduated high school, ladies and gentlemen, I do not have a high school diploma. I'm self taught. I do not have any paperwork that I can fall back on. I do not have a degree. Like I said, I don't even have a high school diploma, but I have beaten out Ateneo graduates and UP graduates and LaSalle graduates simply because I know how to talk to people. And where does that come from? Theater. The theater will prepare you for it. I'm not telling you guys to drop out of school, huh? Okay? Continue studying, please. But if you go into theater, it'll prepare you for actual, real life because you're talking to people. For me, theater is real life uh, under a specific set of circumstances. When you go and watch a show or when you're performing in a show, you should not be aware that, oh, that's Jamie Wilson playing a role. No, you should only see Miss Trunchbull. You should only see Arturo Banlao. You should only see Uncle Fester. You shouldn't see Jamie Wilson. I should transform, and I shouldn't be Jamie to you. I should be my character. So it's real life. It's breathing life into these characters. And what's nice about theater is that, there's act one, act two, there's a beginning, there's an end, tapos na. Di ba? In real life, walang ganun eh. Wala kang, tapos na ba? Hindi, may bukas pa, I have to go to work. Di ba? Pero minsan, may mga act one tayo, may mga act two, may mga act three sa buhay natin. You guys are young. And your life is ahead of you. And it's a very different world now. But I'm telling you, if you do choose to pursue theater, not just as a career, but even, just as your studies or as a hobby, it will help you. In whatever path you choose to take, it will help you. So, yeah, I've been talking for 40 minutes, guys. Any questions? I can keep on talking. Believe me, I can talk for hours. Do you have any questions? Or Sir Bryant, do you want to jump in here? Because I can just keep on talking.
Hello po.
Hi.
I have prepared a question po for you.
Sure.
Um, so good afternoon po, Sir Wilson. You have been working in the industry na po for so long. May I ask po na for you to share either special moment po or event that you have encountered in your field that has made you realize something about life po except from those you have mentioned earlier po. Thank you po.
A special moment in theater that has changed my life. They all changed my life. Um, okay. In I'll give you one small instance. Okay. So when I was playing Uncle Fester, when I got cast as Uncle Fester, so I got the role. I'm going to be part of a lead role, Uncle Fester. That's the role I wanted. So I was so happy. My musical director, CJ Javier, who is now the musical director for Hong Kong Disneyland, he said, "Oh bro, you got Uncle Fester. Sigurado ko ba dyan?" Sabi ko, "Oh, kayang-kaya ko yan. I can talk in the voice, diba? Uncle Fester talks like this, diba? Okay lang yan. Diba? It'll be fun. I want to shave my head, ganyan-ganyan." Sabi niya, "Hindi. Yung kanta mo, may solo kanta ka." Ah, good, cool. I didn't know. I didn't know this. May solo pala akong kanta. And sabi niya, "Bro, narinig mo ba yung kanta?" Hindi pa. Kasi yung last note mo, high C. Sabi ko, shit. Baritone ako. That's a high C. That's a really high fucking note. Sorry for me, but that's a high note. I didn't even know what the high C sounded like because I'd never even reached that note ever in my career. So he said, high C yung nota mo. Sabi ko, ha? Shit. Anong gagawin ko? Paano yan? So I took voice lessons. And with Pablo Molina, who's a world-renowned opera singer and opera tutor. And mutual friends pointed me in his direction. And I said, okay, so Sir Pablo, this is the reason why I'm taking a lesson. I have to hit a high C. And so he vocalized me. So he was on the piano. And then, you're doing la 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 la, yung ganon. It's so boring, right? It's so boring. But because I had a purpose that I had to learn or see if I could hit a high C, he kept on going. And I kept on singing. And he kept on going higher and higher. And I kept on singing. And he kept on going higher and higher. And then he stopped. And he said, "Jamie, binobola mo ako eh." Sabi ko, "Why? Hindi ka baritone eh. Sinasabi mo lang baritone ka. Pero high tenor ka pala." Sabi ko, "Bakit? Bakit mo sinasabi yan, sir? Baba ng boses ko eh." Diba? Apparently, he had vocalized me and I hit a high E, which is 2 whole steps higher than a high C. And that's when I realized, wait, I can do that pala. What else in my life was I telling myself that I can't do that I can do pala? When I hit that note, and of course I told him, well, Sir Pablo, I have to be able to hit that note every night na wala ka dito. So you have to train me. So he taught me techniques on how to access it. Sabi niya, oh, Jamie, nag-iossi ka, umiinom ka. O yan. So itong kailangan mong gawin. Diba? But my takeaway from that, which colored the rest of my life after that moment was, what else am I telling myself na hindi ko kaya? Na kaya ko pala. Why was I shortchanging myself? Why was I telling myself, hindi, baritong ka lang eh. Yung pala tenor ka. And ever since then, when anybody would ask me to do anything, like my first directing job, Jamie, would you be interested in directing? Yes. Even if I've never directed before. Yes. Kaya ko yan. Jamie, do you want to be a technical director? Yes. Jamie, do you want to do? Yes. And I'll figure out how to do it afterwards. Because you really won't know what you're capable of unless you try to do it. And yes, you can fail. Yes, you can make mistakes, but that's the whole point, no? As long as you don't make the same mistakes. But I swear, after that moment, when Sir Pablo, my voice teacher, said, Jamie, tenor ka pala eh. Sa utak ko, baritone ako. Sa utak ko, mababa yung boses ko. Pero apparently, hindi. So that taught me a very big lesson in my life on what else can I do that I've been telling myself that I can't do. And that changed my life.
Thank you po.
Others, you might have some questions to Sir Jamie with regards to what he have shared.
Don't be shy,
Yes
guys.
po.
If you
Ay,
want to do theater,
hello
you
po,
can't be
good
shy.
afternoon.
Hi, good afternoon.
Hello po, good afternoon. So, while performing po in a theater, so obviously it is live po, 'di ba?
Yes.
So, and theater actor po really have the skills in memorizing the lines. So, my question po is, have you ever encountered or did you ever in a situation where you forgot your line in the middle of the play? Like, out of nowhere po, kunwari, parang lines nyo na po, part nyo na, tapos nakalimutan nyo po yung line nyo. And how do theater actors po, paano nyo po nalulusutan yung mga ganong circumstances?
Okay. So that's happened to me many times. I have a very bad memory. Very bad memory. Okay. And I'm aware of that. So I always constantly practice my lines. Always. When I'm doing a play, even when I don't have a show that day, I will set aside an hour of just running my lines every day. Now, ang maganda sa mga opportunities na ganon is that kung nakalimutan mo yung linya mo, if you forget your line, 9 out of 10 times somebody will save you. Because we all know the material eh. And we're all human. So minsan may nakakalimot, salo ka. And that will only come if you're paying attention, if you know the material, and you understand the function of everybody. Okay? Case in point, I had the opportunity to save. Okay? Hindi ako yung nag-forget. I'll get to that story of forgetting my lines after this. I had the opportunity to save Subas Herrero. He's a very well-known actor. He's gone now, but he's he's from my father's generation. The old Regal films and all that. So Subas Herrero. The story was like this. We were doing Francis of Assisi. Okay? Paulo Fabregas was playing Francis of Assisi, the saint. I was playing the Archbishop who was introducing Saint Francis to the Pope. Okay? Subas Herrero was playing the Pope. Si Subas, nakalimutan niya yung linya niya kay Francis. Now, if you understand the play, may hierarchy yan, di ba? Kung ito yung eksena, may hierarchy yan. Kung Francis of Assisi, na parang mukhang beggar ka lang, di ba? Kung nasa situation ka na yun, pwede mo bang i-correct yung Pope? Hindi, di ba? Kasi, mababa yung status mo. So, sino yung pwedeng mag-correct or mag-suggest sa Pope? Di yung Archbishop. So, ako yung hindi ako included sa conversation eh. Silang dalawa nag-uusap. Eh nakalimutan ni Subas yung linya niya. Si Francis, si Paolo Fabregas, hindi niya alam anong gagawin niya. Kasi hindi maka-move on yung eksena kasi dead air, dead air. Nakalimutan niya yung linya niya. So ako naman, yung Archbishop, I was playing an old man, may cane pa ako. You know, I stepped in and I said, I gave them the line. I said, oh, Santo Papa, ganyan, 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 ganyan. Tapos nag-back on track sila. Sa, lahat nakahinga. So, balik ako, listening, listening, listening. Nakalimutan na naman ni Subas yung linya niya. Pasok ulit ako. Diba? So, tumuwid yung eksena. And it was great because nobody noticed your mistake. The first thing you should do is not acknowledge the mistake because nobody knows the material more than you. The beauty about that is when we got backstage and Subas had realized that he had forgotten his lines. Subas Herrero used to work with my father. This was the first time he was working with me. He gave me a big hug backstage. And he said, alam mo, I love you more than I love your father. Kasi yung dad mo, loko-loko yan eh. Ginugulo ako sa stage. O kaya ginugulo ako sa eksena. Ikaw, you saved me. And coming from Subas Herrero, and if you Google Subas Herrero, he's on the League of Dolphy, guys. And that was such a great moment. And I didn't think anything of it because I was just trying to save the scene. Kasi kung hindi mo ma-save yung eksena, hindi matatawid yung eksena, wala kang kwento eh. Wala kang storya. Which leads me to my next story when I forgot my lines. And I didn't forget one line, ha? I didn't forget one line or two lines. I was the lead in a production of Hurly Burly. It's a very long play. It has 3 acts. I had so many lines na kakabili ko lang ng bagong highlighter. Act 2, naubos yung highlighter ko. Ganong karami. Yung linya ko, ganong kadami yung linya ko, guys. Naubusan ako ng highlighter sa kaka-highlight ng linya ko. So, fast forward, opening night. First scene. I did not just forget my lines. Okay? Kausap ko yung scene partner ko, si Lee Robin Salazar. I didn't just forget my lines. I jumped 14 pages. So yung usapan namin, hindi siya nasa page 2. Inumpisa ko sa page 14. Tapos tuloy-tuloy lang ako. Tapos napansin ko, bakit si Lee Robin, ang laki ng mata? Sinasakin niya ako. Pero ang laki ng mata mo. Bakit ang laki ng mata mo? This was live. It's opening night. Okay? And then I realized, oh shit, I jumped. But since I knew the story so well, I just brought it back to page 2. And na-realize ko, kung hindi ako bumalik, kasi may split moment decision ka eh. Parang, I call that a jet fighter decision. When you're flying a jet fighter, at nasa gera ka, di ba? Konting kalabit mo lang sa steering wheel, ang laki na ng movement mo, di ba? So, jet fighter decision in a split second, you have to ask yourself, kung hindi ako bumalik, pwede ba natin ituloy itong kwentong to? Sabi ko, hindi. Kasi, I jumped 14 pages. So, hindi nila magigets yung Act 2, Act 3, yung buong play, hindi nila magigets kasi nag-uumpisa siya sa 14 pages na na-skip ko. So, kailangan ko bumalik. And in thinking, this was in less than 2 seconds when I realized, oh shit, I have to bring it back. And then you bring it back. And when I brought it back, parang narinig mo. Tapos napansin ko rin, ang daming tao sa wings ng theater, sa side, sa backstage. Yung mga co-actors ko na wala pa sa eksena, no? Lahat sila nakatingin sa akin na gano'n. And I'm like, what's wrong? Oh shit, I skipped 14 pages. So binalik ko. And when I was able to bring it back to where we were supposed to start, parang may narinig akong collective na parang lahat ng crew, ng stage manager, co-actors ko, biglang, okay, we're back. And you have to prepare yourself for that. Now, there were 2 opportunities where I saved somebody and I had to save myself. It's very rare it happens to me that somebody had to save me, but I'm sure it's happened in over my 100 shows, my 100 productions. No, you have to know the material. You have to know what everybody else is doing also, not just your role. Hindi pwedeng, oh, yung role ko lang pag-aaralan ko. Hindi pwede yun. Kasi may mga relationships ka sa stage eh. Whether it be the relationship of if somebody who's playing your wife or your best friend or your boss or, anybody, you all have relationships on that stage. So you have to be aware of the function of everybody else so that you can better fulfill your function. And in case anything like that happens, then you can be in the position and will have the opportunity to possibly save that scene. And who knows, if you save that scene, you can save the show. Sana lang, you do more saving than needing to be saved. Kasi may mga actors din na ganon. They need to be saved. But yeah, that's the beauty of it doing live, Miss Vicky. When you're doing live theater, you don't know what's going to happen. Every show is different. Even all the Ang Huling El Bimbo shows or the children's theater show, we're running for 6 months. Every show, kahit na 4 shows a day ka, yung 4 shows na yun, iba-iba. Iba yung energy, iba yung tapon, iba yung audience, iba yung reactions. So it's very unique in a sense. And the beauty of it, the thrill of it is you're live. Wala kang cut, wala kang take 2, wala kang take 3. The show must go on no matter what happens. May nangyari na sa amin na nawala kaming power, nag-brown out sa gitna ng show. Ano ginawa namin? Nagsindi kami ng kandila at tuloy ang kwento. So it really, the show must go on. Applies not only in theater but in every other, art form, and also in real life as well, or in whatever industry that you find yourself in. Just because, wala akong internet wala akong magagawa. Kailangan maghanap ka ng paraan. And it's that attitude and it's that training that theater gives you to find a way. Because in theater, we have to find a way. Because kung wala tayong show, may de wala. Paano na? Thank you for that question.
Thank you po.
Anyone else? Yes, Nicole.
Hello, sir. Good afternoon po. Before I give my question, I just want to say that I'm really impressed dun po sa sinabi nyo na as an actor, parang malalaman mo na nagustuhan ka ng audience kapag nagalit sila sa'yo. And hindi lang po kayo yung first actor na narinig ko sa ganon. So, I know na napakagaling niyo pong actor kasi narinig ko rin po siya sa interview po kay Mr. Eddie Garcia, who is a veteran actor po.
Yes.
And ayun po, nakakamangha po kayo. And my question is, out of all the plays you have, out of all the roles that you have played, sabi niyo po dumaan kayo sa almost 100 po na characters. Ano po dun yung pinaka-challenging para sa inyo po? Ayun.
Okay, pinaka-challenging. Okay, pinaka-challenging ko has to be Arturo Banlao for Ang Huling El Bimbo. Because up until that point, I had never done any Tagalog plays. I'd only done English. And all of a sudden, when you're creating a character for Ang Huling El Bimbo, and I was playing a commandant, an ROTC commander, and then a corrupt counselor. I had to speak in Tagalog, and not only just any Tagalog, it had to be very good Tagalog. And I couldn't sound konyo. I couldn't sound worsh. So although I, speak Tagalog in real life, it's different when you're doing it on stage. And that was very challenging for me because not only was it a language challenge, but also it was also a creating challenge because there were days na Hindi ko like yung character ko nung nagre-rehearse kami, hindi ko alam yung ending ko, eh. Kasi kine-create pa namin habang nagre-rehearse kami. May mga situation like before we opened, I think 3 days before we opened ang huling El Bimbo, we were already in the theater, we were rehearsing technicals. And a new song came out, and I had to learn the parts. And I had to memorize the parts before we opened because that's how original work gets developed. So all of a sudden, we had to sing Spolarium by Eraserheads. Dinagdag siya. Napaka-komplikado ng areglo. And you just had to do it because like wala kang choice. We're opening in 3 days. We have an audience in 3 days. It was very challenging in that sense. Another role that would be very challenging for me was I played the Hurly Burly role. No, sorry, this is before Hurly Burly. It was La Parent Terrible, The Terrible Parents by Jean Cocteau. Was my first nude role on stage. I had a scene where I had to be completely naked, and it was in a non-sexual way. The scene was I had to come out of the shower. My fiance was toweling me dry. I would be getting dressed because my mother is about to arrive. And it's the first time that my mother is meeting my fiance. And my mother does not want me to get married. So ganun yung eksena. But I had to do that entire scene naked. Now, why was it challenging? It's not because of nudity, because nudity for me, that's just, like if I have to try on costumes or clothes, I will do it in front of people. I don't care. It wasn't the nudity. It was the mechanics of having to get dressed. Because hindi ka pwedeng, all of a sudden kasi, with actors kasi, once you start calling their clothes costumes, nakakalimutan natin paano magsuot ng pantalon, ng mga shirt. Kasi biglang ay costume bigla, So for me, the biggest challenge for that was how do I go from naked on stage to fully dressed at a certain line. Kasi dapat at a certain pagdating ng point ng eksena, sinusuot ko na yung necktie ko. At this point, sinusuot ko na yung jacket ko. Kasi magdo-doorbell na si Mami at papasok. So kailangan by that time bihis na ako. So yung mechanics ng how to get dressed while you're talking, while you're in a scene, at a specific point in time na nandun yung eksena, yun para sa akin yung malaking challenge. Hindi yung nudity. Kasi I'm not shy at all. I don't care. But it was the mechanics. That was the first time I had to do anything complicated, as complicated as that, on kailangan i-plot out ko, by this line, dapat nakasuot na ako ng medyas. By this line, nakasuot na ako ng pantalon. By this time, tinatakin ko na yung shirt ko. So it was very mechanical. But you cannot sound mechanical. And it cannot look mechanical. It has to look natural. Kasi nagbibihis ka lang eh. So an everyday thing, every day, we put on clothes every day, di ba guys? I hope, right? Every day we put on clothes. Something as everyday as that. You had to plot it out very meticulously. But you had to make it look like you do this every day. So that was the biggest, one of my bigger challenges in terms of the mechanical processes of an actor. So yeah.
Thank you so much po.
Okay. I think Sir Wilson, we took so much of your time. It's already
I'm
an
okay.
hour, and
I'm okay,
uh,
guys.
uh, I'm very happy, sir, because while listening to your story, allow me to say po na not all, or as I would say, not all theater actors will be as honest as you are, because you've told what really an actor is created, ika nga, di ba? Kumbaga, there's no BS when you're sharing your experiences and when you've answered the 3 questions that my students have gave. I really saw that it is not easy in portraying a character. most especially like on your end nga po, 'di ba? Most of the time you've been given the villain roles, those who are, the opposite of what we usually do in life. So we really appreciate, sir, this. And though most of this, allow me to say, teens in front of you will become educators, but then there will be a time as an English teacher po that they will be teaching speech and stage art, and some of them might end up with that kind of career that you have. So, Mr. Wilson, thank you very much for this opportunity po. And as much as we really wanted to take more of your time, but again, we still have to, or other tasks needed to do. But then, sir, allow me to call the president of the third year English students, Miss Mafe Reyes. Can you present our small gift to Mr. Wilson?
Yes po, good afternoon po again. So I will be
Hi.
sharing the certificate of appreciation to be given to our speaker for today. Wait lang
Thank
po.
you. Thank you. Before, oh, cool.
Wait lang po.
Aha, there's a picture of Miss Banlao on your phone.
Yes po. So, Laguna State po. So, let me read po the certificate to award to Sir Wilson. Laguna State Polytechnic University Certificate of Appreciation. This certificate is given to Mr. Jamie A. Wilson for imparting his valuable insights and inspiration to the third year Bachelor of Secondary Education English students during the session for Speech and Theater Arts English 7, given this 29th day of January 2022 via Google Meeting, assigned by Brian Bennett D. Atencia, Professor, and Mafi B. Reyes, the President.
Thank
Thank you
you.
po.
Thank you. Guys, if you guys are going to be
Um,
teachers,
do
if
apologize, sir, if we could only give certificate as of the moment
no,
po.
that's
Pero if
that's
only
perfectly
we
fine.
could
I'm
really,
happy to do
invite
this.
you. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I'm happy to do this. But if you guys want to invite me over, pag safe na tayong lahat at pwede ng face to face, just message
Yeah,
me.
that's one of our plans, sir. Cause as I've understood this subject that I'm giving to this wonderful future educators po, one of my targets po talaga is to have them see or to meet an actor who could guide them. In fact, sir, just to share with you before we end the session, the final output that I've requested to them is to create a certain, how will I say this, a play based on a literary piece here in Asia or in other parts of the globe. And with the insights, with the lessons that you've just gave, sir, I'm pretty sure that they could produce, even if it will be done digitally or through online lang po. I'm pretty sure that from the lessons you gave, sir, I'm so excited for the output because you've given good insights to them, sir. Because it's not easy just to base on the shows, on the films, even on theatrical plays. But when someone speaks to them, okay, and someone who is, allow me to say, sir, you're an actor who's honest with your craftsmanship, with your craftswork. So, I'm so excited. Naririnig nyo ngayon, third year. After the discussion with Sir Wilson, I'm expecting a good output based on all the insights that he gave to us. Okay, even I'm traveling right now, sir. My focus not just on the road, but with your thoughts. And one thing, sir, if ever that we could invite you once again, maybe in the next few months, because uh yun nga po sir kasi it's very rare to hear someone who will be really telling who they really are, what kind of craftsmanship they wanted to do. You're very honest, sir. When I was listening a while ago from your own stories with your
Well,
insights on how a theater really works po. So, yun po, sir. Thank you very much. We really appreciate po.
thank you. Thank you. If you guys just as on a parting note, if you guys are going to be creating a work or even, if you when you become future educators, don't forget the why. There's always the question why. And I hated my teachers back in high school. This is why I dropped out of high school. Is, why am I reading Beowulf? Why am I studying this subject? Why do I have to learn grammar, English grammar I can speak? And they always told me, if you want to pass this subject, that's your why. And that's not enough for me. For me, it's not because I had to pass a grade. For me, grades didn't mean anything because I was working already in the real world. I was already performing in shows. So don't forget the why. And every student will respond to a different why. Why do you have to learn this? Because you will be a better educator in the future. Why, like for example, why do I have to learn good English? If you're gonna go out on a date, you know, with a person who speaks English, then dapat maganda rin yung English nyo. It's locking down on the why. And that's one of the main responsibilities of any actor and director and any educator as well, is don't forget the why. And your why. Why are you doing this? Why do you want to be an educator? Is the most important of all. Because if you want to educate people, if you want to be a teacher or a trainer, right? I also teach theater, right? Why do I do this? It's because I want people to learn. I want people to have fun, and I want them to realize that there's so much potential in you, that you can actually use that potential, whatever it may be. Like I was saying a while ago, I didn't realize that I could reach a high C. Tenor pala ako, hindi pala ako baritone. But can you imagine if you can unlock the potential of one person and make him realize or her realize that she is more than she thinks or he thinks that they are? You don't know, that person could be the next president of the Philippines. That person could be the next CEO of a company that helps so many people. You don't know. So always be aware of the why, your why and their why. And once you can answer that, then you can unlock potential, you can inspire people, you can motivate people, and you can possibly help people get on a better path that even they themselves did not think that they could do. And that's a good why, you know. So thank you for having me, guys. And please stay safe.
We really appreciate, sir, that last thoughts you gave. It's only a three-letter word, but then it's very hard to explain. That's why whenever I'm teaching this future educators po, I don't just simply tell them that why do we need to do this because you need to pass. I always tell them, why do I need to invite an actual theater actor? Because they have a first-hand experience, and you don't know what you're going to learn from this actor, because I saw how he acts, but then right now we've heard what is the story behind those wonderful actings that Mr. Wilson have shown, not just to the audience, but to the whole world. Actually, allow me to use that one, sir. So, thank you very much for Mr. Wilson. And now, may I request anyone in our group who is in a computer to take a screenshot
Take a
of
screenshot.
us? Yes, and then I'll share it with you, Sir Jamie. Anyone? Mafi, are you on a computer?
Sure.
No po, sir.
Sino po naka-computer? Desktop or laptop? Okay. Come on, wag na kayong mahiya.
Ayan, si Denaya and Zoe. Ayan.
Oh, Lorraine, you're in a computer, right?
Ayan, ready?
Okay,
Oh,
okay,
everybody
sige.
smile.
Everyone, please. Ayan. Okay. Are we all good? Nakunan niyo po ba ng maganda?
Yes, sir.
Okay, I think
All right.
okay naman po ayun. Once again, Mr. Wilson, thank you very much for this opportunity, for the time that you gave. And as much as we really wanted to know more, because you are, allow me to say once again, sir, a veteran actor, someone that, future theater actors would like to meet. personally and virtually. And we're very lucky that you gave us this almost an hour and 14 minutes of your time, sir. So, ayun po. Thank you very much. And students, thank you. And don't leave yet. Okay, except si Mr. Wilson, because he might be important.
Thank you so much
All right. Thank you,
po.
Thank you
guys.
so much.
Thank you.
Thank you
Thank
po,
you,
Thank you.
sir.
sir.
Last day po.
Stay safe. Stay
Thank you po,
safe and
sir.
study well. Thank you.
Thank you po, sir. Ayan. So, let me just double check. Ayan, wala na si Mr. Wilson. Okay, so how was it? Yan, lahat naman kayo nakatawa. Okay? You know, um, just one thing regarding with inviting a real theater actor, a veteran theater actor. Okay? This is one opportunity. Okay? Apparently, I cannot bring you to a real theater play because of the situation. I could give you a movie to watch. But then the sole purpose of this is for you to understand what is this subject all about. Narinig niyo kung paano magsalita si Mr. Wilson. You've heard his background already. Who wouldn't thought, 'di ba, na yung nagsalita sa harap niyo is he told his life. Okay? Not that old, but I saw to this man the honesty. And that's one thing that we are trying to achieve, teachers. Whenever we are teaching, we wanted to show honesty. Okay? And most especially in theater plays, di ba? We need to be honest whenever you're portraying a role. We need to be honest to the audience that you paid big money. Okay? Actually, when we're watching plays of Mr. Wilson, like yung, ayun nga, Rock of Ages, and then yung Kinky Boots, we paid a lot. Kaya nakita ko talaga how good he is. Okay? So, kumbaga yun yung sagot ngayon natin to sa tanong na why did we do this? It's not just for the sake of doing what's on the curriculum guide, on the course guide itself, but you having a first-hand experience. Well, actually, you could say that, oh, I met Jimmy Wilson, one of the Philippines known theater actor. In person, pag tinanong ko, sabihin niya, no, online, bakit? At least we've met him. We know his life, duh. Ikaw hanggang panood ka lang, kami, we have a first-hand experience of meeting him online. Okay? So, medyo napakwento ng marami si Mr. Wilson, but I think it's much more better rather than what's on our planned work. Kasi I'm about to ask him his thoughts about Shakespeare in Love. He said that he loved that movie, but then I guess it's much more better that you learn from his experience, not just his perspective on the movie that was made by another. Okay? So, paki-share po ng picture. Okay? Kung sino man nag-take ng picture, i-share niyo sa group. And then, I'll be requesting you, okay? I know ang dami ko ng pagawa sa inyo. Okay? But then, I want you to create, ano? Uno. Binibigyan ko ng uno itong mga to, pre. Okay? Matataas pa grade ng mga to. Wala pang bibigyan dito ng tres. Wait lang, inom lang po ako. Tapos na ikaw ganda. Prepare ko. TL na ako. Sorry, nauwa ko si Sarah. What I want you to do is to create a very simple message. A very simple message for Mr. Wilson. Okay? Because, to be honest, kung in-invite natin siya sa school, bukod sa magbibigay tayo ng token of appreciation, merong konting, when you're inviting someone, okay, may konting kaching. Okay, but apparently we are in this situation. So we are very lucky, teachers. So, yun lang. I want you to create a short video. Okay? Yung kung ano talagang gusto nyong sabihin thoughts sa kanya. English or Tagalog na. Okay, but I would appreciate English because that's your major. Send it to my email. Okay? Ako na magko-compose. Ako na mag-e-edit. And then, together with the certificate, I'll be giving that video to them. Okay? So, sa totoo lang, nothing beats, real comments, okay, real appreciation. Alam naman, kailangan ng pera. Pero iba pa rin, yung may naka-appreciate sa craftsmanship niya. Okay? So please, do that today. I'm gonna wait that within 11:59 tonight. Okay? Kasi i-edit ko.
Bait naman.
Ang bait.
11:59.
Ang bait. Dapat nga ngayon na nila gawin eh. Sorry. I'm talking to my friend. Okay? So, ayun ha.
Birthdays.
Wala naman yung short video. Very short video. Send it to my email. I'm gonna create it bago ko i-send kay Mr. Wilson yung certificate. Okay? So, I appreciate those who've asked questions. Really wonderful questions. And, yun nga, aral kayo mabuti. Regarding with teaching, yung teaching grammar natin, I'll just share the slide. Okay? We could still cover that one up next week. Okay? So, ayun. Good work, good work. I appreciate everyone who is in proper uniform, everyone who opened their cam for the whole session. Okay? Dahil nga nung sabi ko, nung lolo ko ng friend ko, no one's gonna get lower than 3 ngayon. Okay? Lower, not lower than 3 nga ang grade ng mga tuta sa akin eh. Okay? So, ayun. Teachers, I'm gonna expect the video in my email. Okay? Within today lang kasi i-edit ko and tomorrow I'm gonna send that video and the certificate to Mr. Wilson. Okay? I gave my email, kanino ba? Kay Matt?
Yes, sir. Nasa
Naibigay
GC
ko.
na po.
Nasa GC. Sa GC naman tayo nag-usap, tama? Ayun. So, send your short message lang, okay? Something that is real. Huwag yung sapilitan nyo, oh my goodness, thank you, Mr. Wilson, blah, blah, blah. No. The real. Yung kung ano yung totoong pagkaka-appreciate nyo sa buong session. Okay? Kaya kung comfortable ka ng English, English. Kung comfortable ka ng Tagalog, go.
Much better.
Walang, yun nga, sabi ko nga, much better English. Pero, walang length. Okay? Pero wag naman sanang, thank you po, sir. Wag naman ganun. Okay, wala naman magjo-joke ng ganun. Sir, thank you, ang galing nyo. Hello? Charot. Yun totoo, ha? Alam ko magaling naman kayo eh. Okay? So, yun. I wouldn't take so much of your time. Thank you so much. This is a really great output. Okay? So, I'll see you next Thursday na. Don't forget the output, teachers. Thank you. Have a great afternoon.
Thank you po, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you po.
Thank you.
Thank you po,
Thank you.
sir.
Good afternoon po. Enjoy your afternoon.